Now the stranger started talking, made it plain to folks around. Was in Arizona, ranger, wouldn't be too long in town.
Marty Robbins, Big Iron.
Came here to take an outlaw back alive or maybe dead. And he said it didn't matter, he was after Texas Red.
Ooh, great ballad.
Popular song.
Even with your generation?
All the time.
Really?
Yep. I hear it on a lot of guys' playlists because they included it on an old Fallout game.
Really? So in a video game, people learned it.
Oh, yeah.
Great moral to that song, like we've said in some other Big Knife reviews here on Tabletop. I love Marty Robbins ballads. They're awesome.
It's a song all about how we need to issue LEOs, giant, big-ass Desert Eagles.
Yeah.
It's the surest way to win a gunfight.
Don't underestimate your enemy. That's for sure. We're reviewing big knives again. Big iron, if you will. That's what we're calling it in these big Bowie knife reviews. TD is here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for your support through all the years. We have circled back to some big old blades, haven't we, TD?
I like to call them Bowie knives because they cause really big owies. That's actually where the name comes from. It's a contraction.
Bowie owie knives?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Because they used to say, watch out, that knife will give you a big owie. And then they would disembowel each other over a game of cards.
They would. Reading out the book once again, this one right here, we've mentioned it several times through the years and most recently. I'm going to read you this part. You didn't have to travel through bandit-infested hills or gamble in a dirt-floored bar to risk death in the gold rush days. Even editing a newspaper was a dangerous business. Of course, this is back when the press actually was the press.
Yeah.
They did their jobs, not like we have the CPF now. But that's a different thing. One editor, Stephen Massett, wrote, in those days, California editors slept with 2 or 3 double-barreled pistols under their head and the same number of Bowie knives at their feet. For if an article happened to appear reflecting the slightest degree upon the character of an individual or individuals, they would come by demanding instant satisfaction with either knives, pistols, or both. And then I'm going to skip down to this portion right here. He was assaulted by the editors of a rival newspaper who knocked him down, jumped on him, and was beating him mercilessly when Mansfield managed to pull out his own Bowie knife and stab him in the heart.
Sweet.
Out of this book right here. Yeah, and then it goes on to talk about his trial and what happened in that trial and how he acted in self-defense. There you go. So, and that's interesting. Reading in this book, you realize that justice was served a lot more fairly back then. They would look and say, hey, that guy was defending himself. And unlike in today's modern era, where oftentimes the good guys are portrayed as the bad guys, just kind of right was right and wrong was wrong.
Good job killing them bandits, kid.
And we're going to give you a 2-for-1 Bowie knife review. We've got 2 on the table. One's going to be a Cold Steel Old West Bowie knife. This is a Condor Undertaker. What a name that is.
Yeah.
Speaking of that story, Undertaker. We're going to give you kind of a face-off in this video, I guess. Into POU we go. One reason I like these Bowie knives, I like the big knives for sure. They're just fun in their own right. But another reason I like them is because they do harken back to the Old West.
Yeah.
And that original Americana, when people were hardworking, they weren't afraid of defending themselves, and oftentimes if they didn't, they would just die.
Yeah.
And that American rugged individualism, that's why I love these knives.
It's got a story in there of one where they had bandits that would sneak up on like gold miners, and in order to steal whatever their haul was that day, they'd come behind them and garrote them from behind.
Oh,
and then demand all their stuff. And a dude was able to, as soon as he felt it around his neck, draw his knife, bring it up behind him, and stab it straight into the guy's thorax. Put him out.
Well, we're just talking history stuff. Do you see those Time Life books that I brought up? Maybe I never brought them out. Dang, I was going to show them some really cool photos. Maybe I'll roll them in. Of the hard-crusted miners of the era.
Dude.
Sheep herders, cattlemen. I mean, these people were rugged.
Just leather, bone, and jerky for muscle.
And these are the kind of knives, no joke, that they would carry.
Yeah.
Not always, but frequently. They'd carry big old Bowie knives of different flavors, different designs. A lot of the Bowie knives grew out of cleavers, meat cleavers. And then they started making their own. This is a classically styled Old West Bowie knife from Cold Steel, as you can see. It's a great knife. It's super affordable for what you're getting. 23.5 ounces, the whole carry weight with the leather sheath, 1 pound, 14 ounces. The stock on this steel is 0.17 inches. And I think this is 1075 on that. If I'm wrong, I'll annotate it. This is 1075, made in El Salvador, Condor Undertaker. This is about the same width, 0.16 inches in width, walnut handled, 18 ounces for the knife itself, so it's going to be lighter than this one. The guard's smaller, thinner, 1 pound, 7 ounces overall carry weight, tactical doodle. Which one do you like better, just from looks?
Probably the Undertaker.
Really?
Yeah. This is I mean, it's cool, but it's kind of exaggerated. This is like in a game where if you summon a skeleton as a necromancer, they come with these very exaggerated pirate cutlasses. It's
okay. Let me say this again. I'm not the end-all expert on Old West Bowie knives, but this is actually period correct. There were a lot of them that had big old S guards like this because it was meant to capture your opponent's blade. So there were, and you can read in that book. There were actually dude-on-dude knife fights. They would challenge each other and go to toe-to-toe. And so having a big S-shaped guard like this, one to protect your hand in the forward thrust, and another to capture your opponent's blade, or at least to parry it, it'd be nice. It'd keep your fingers from getting chopped it off, dude.
Which they lost a lot of fingers.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
He was reading through that book, and he was like, dude, there's a lot of dudes that got their fingers chopped off. Well, that and a lot more.
And they just kind of, they mentioned, I started taking the blade, I lost the 3 bottom fingers, but I continued my thrust and got him clean.
It's true. They're rugged. These guys can take pain
like
and injury, and they keep pressing on. Meanwhile, your generation, the millennial generation or Zoomers, they get a busted fingernail, and they're done. They're out of the fight. I'm done. Okay, philosophy of use then is an Old West collectible with these particular knives. Notice that we didn't break that out with the Shiny Mountain or the Rio Grande Bowie knife reviews that we are bracketing with this video, because those are really modern interpretations. These are Old West interpretations of the blades of that era. And again, there's all types of different varieties. I like both of these equally. I don't know if I could pick one over the other. I love this big guard, though. I think it's fantastic. It looks great. Here's the guard on the Undertaker.
Nice.
And it's pretty basic. You can see it's kind of crudely finished, but keep in mind, this is a super affordable user Bowie, so you could use it. And a lot of guys have. I mean, there's reviews on how they went out chopping with it. I'll talk about that here in a second. And, basic. So this isn't really a high collectability Bowie knife. It's just someone who likes the style of knife. They don't have a lot of money, and they just want to own an Old West Bowie knife. That's what the Condor's intended for. I will say that this one's not much more. And this one presents better. Walnut. I think that's walnut as well as... oh, no, that's rosewood on this one. This one's walnut on the Condor.
I'm surprised I didn't recognize that.
Fighting knives, of course. We've been kind of talking about that. And then woods blades. I'm going to say right here that these style of knives are horrible woods blades, and that may surprise you. And I've went out in the woods and I've worked with hollow ground Old West Bowies, and they just don't chop well. They don't have a lot of mass up here because they're deeply clipped. It's a little bit surprising, and I got my eyes opened with it. I can't remember if I worked this one over. I think I did. So this cold steel I chopped with a little bit, and I just hated it so much I quit. It's really surprising because you would think a big massive blade like this would chop well. It's not designed as a chopping blade or a woods blade. It's designed as a fighting knife.
Yeah, it looks like the center of gravity would be a little bit lower than
There's
you
no
want
forward,
to get some momentum.
The thing about those Bark Rivers is they have metal up here, so they have a nice swing weight to them. This one, like you're saying, that it's right about here. They're balanced really nice for in-hand fighting. That's what they're designed for. But Woodscraft, I would give it probably a D for chopping at least. You could do, skinning tasks with it, some firecraft, but they're not designed for that. And then collectability, a high value collection.
Yeah.
So we reviewed some $300+ Bark Rivers. A lot of guys can't afford that. But they like the style. They like what we like. Going back to the Old West days when right was right, wrong was wrong. And it's cool to have these in the collection. These are affordable.
It's a lot easier to sneak it by the wife.
Yeah.
A $300, well, unless if you label it kitchen regalia.
Oh.
Yeah, I need a professional chef's knife to cut tomatoes.
You could tell her this is a chef's knife. She'd go, that's a funky chef's knife. No.
Do you know anything about professional chefhood?
I'm chopping onions today with my cold steel Old West Bowie knife. And by the way, I don't have the box of this. I think it has a really cool box. I forgot it though. Show them that one. So I haven't shown you this variation. This is TD's case Bowie knife. I reviewed the white version of this one.
It's a good display piece.
There's another variation, Old West variation, and they had this one of a brass guard. Look at that one.
I like how they give
Pretty
you an
cool,
illustration of an ancient wizard on the front, too.
That's Mr. Case. I love this knife. It's super cool. Now, as far as first cool goes, like practicality and woodscraft, I think I'm representing that. The handle on this one is absolutely too short. Look at this. Does it fit you, by the way? Mm-mm. You're cramped too, right, on this one? This is totally collectible. Show them that sheath real quick.
More
so we can
suitable
remind them.
for a...
This was like, when we bought this was $90, dudes.
Sheesh.
Look at that. Great sheath. Case, Bowie knife. And the reason we're showing it to you is, one, it makes us happy and it's fun, and we are talking Bowie knives. And also I want to show you how there's some similarity in the design elements between these two. Notice the downturned handle. Very Old Westy. A lot of them had that. And it's been carried over to so many knives, even today. In Woods knives, I hate that feature. I've said that before. The Condor doesn't have it.
But it helps you hold on when you have blood.
That's what it's intended for.
Or
actually.
panic-induced defensive.
It's designed to envelop your hand so you hold on to it when you're fighting. That's what they designed it for. And that's, I think, one reason why they made it so compact. So you would lock your hand in there and it wouldn't be sliding all over the handle. It's a good point.
It's the same reason the A2 grips on the M16 AR systems. Everyone hates that little triangle that drops down.
Yeah.
That was at the request of the Marines because they would drop
because
them.
of that as well.
Yep.
Now, the Old West Bowie by Cold Steel, much more roomy. Still has that downturned. Rosewood once again. Brass screws. I would say the fit and finish on this, if I were to rate it 1 out of 10, 10 being fantastic, I give it probably about 7.5. You can see some machining marks, and I just polished this up. It was all tarnished, so I polished it up with some Brasso, so it looked nice and shiny.
I kind of got the vibe that it's meant to be a little more rustic.
That's what it is.
Part of the aesthetic is supposed to look like something that you just whisked away.
Where's
from
your
the
miner
time
box?
stream.
We had a box up here with a miner on it. Where'd that thing go? Because I think that was the box for it. It has like some really cool artwork on it, and it's the one that would take you away into pensive thought. If it's back in the house, never mind.
I'm pretty sure I just grabbed that.
We'll show you the box one way or another, but it has a cool box, just like this case Bowie does. And when I reviewed this, I said this is a kind of box that we should have. You know, something that harkens back to the Old West. He's going hunting with it, hunting for that box. Lanyard hole, tubed brass, full tang. Obviously, a little bit proud coming over the handle on the cold steel Bowie knife. I think the thickness that they chose on this is just about right. So this, again, is not a chopper. It's a fighting knife. You make it too thick, now it slows down in hand. Super cool we're having the case on the table, too. By the way, TD, out of these 3 guards, which one do you prefer best? This one, or that one?
For fighting?
No, for first cool, practicality. Just overall.
Probably that.
Still. How about for collectability?
I really like the brass and the funkiness, but neither of these really fit me too well.
I like either of these better than I do that.
Look at the size of my hand in relation.
Yeah?
I'm cramped.
I love this. This reminds me of kind of a naval guard on a sword right here. Super cool. Let's look in detail at the very high value Condor Undertaker. It's so funny they name it the Undertaker, right? Because that's harkening back to knife fighting of the Old West. If that doesn't, I don't know what does. I went ahead and engraved the 1075 steel. It's going to rust like crazy on you if you're not careful. The grind marks on this are somewhat crude. I'd give fit and finish on this one about a 5 out of 10, maybe a 4.5 out of 10. It looks like someone did it maybe in their shack.
Yeah.
But the price is right. And a lot of Salvadorian produced Condor blades are the same, but functionality wise, they don't suffer at all. You're just not paying for that ultimate fit and finish. Deeply clipped Bowie knife blade right here, and then you can see the striations here on the grind. Really sharp though. This knife is wicked sharp. I did not work this one out in the woods, so I couldn't tell you exactly how it would perform. I have my ideas, and that would be pretty crappy. It's just not heavy enough. Good handle though. The handle is long enough. Big lanyard hole right here. Coffin shaped, harkening back to Old West once again. Walnut slabs on this one, permanently attached, so they'll be there forever. No hot spots and enough real estate. Oh, sorry. It's not the cold steel box. This is the Berenson cutlery one.
Berenstain.
Yeah, we might as well show them that one too. We'll make it a 3-for-1. Here you go. Here's the Berenson cutlery. Bowie knife. 3 for 1 right here, dudes. And some of these we're going to give away to TMP Patreon members. You should be a member. They're the reason the show does as it does. Thanks so much for being part of the donation community. This one's signed 2020, nothing fancy. Very similar to the Condor. I get these two confused all the time, at least in terms of blade quality. This is Baron Sun. This is a Condor, but look, they're almost identical in size. The Baron Sun for fit and finish is higher though. So I would give this 7. This is, again, about a 5, maybe a 4.5. You can see the finishing differences right here. About the same thickness, a little bit thinner with the Baron Sun. Well, you know, I signed the S guard on that too.
Check that out.
Yeah. I love these guards, man. The brass ones I really like. I just think they're cool.
My complaint
Super
still
cool.
stands. We need more
On
proof
what?
marks.
Yeah,
It just
agree.
it screams for something there.
Agree.
Date,
Well, you see what I
manufacturer.
did? I signed
Exactly.
because it needed something. Now, on the Baron Sun cutlery Bowie knife, I don't like this handle at all. I hate the handle.
I actually like that handle more than the other two.
Have you held it?
It's roomier. Yeah, it's more squared off.
It's squared off. It's not finished properly. I gave it a 7. Maybe I'll knock it down to a 6.5. It needs to be sanded better. There's some sharp edges, and I don't like how it tapers right here. Downturn here at the butt. I don't mind that. Compared against the Condor. Let me see the sheath on that one real quick.
Pretty good sheath.
Yeah, there's a Baron Sun sheath. I give that a 5 out of 10 for quality on this one. It's not bad. First cool, absolutely. Oh, I forgot to mention that. It is 12C27 on this, which is amazing steel. That's a really upgraded steel
Smoking.
on a Bowie knife of this size. $102 is what we paid for this. It's CB00. And this one's called the Gold Rush Bowie knife.
Pretty good for being made in the U.S.
Yep. And then here's the sheath on the Condor. Has a Condor logo. Dark brown leather, stitched, riveted. I'll give this a 7 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10 for quality. Taking into account the pricing on it. Here's the details. Cold steel sheath right here. Yeah, 1090 steel. I think I said 1075. It's 1090 steel on this one. Brass snap, black leather. I'd give this about a 7.5 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10 for quality. All of them are about the same. These are all high value Bowie knives though, dudes. They're not super expensive. So if you want something better, go buy a Bark River, right? Which one out of all these 3 do you prefer? Tactical Doodle.
Just to own. Still the Undertaker.
Really? So this is number 1 just for collecting and for the looks. This is number 1 for you?
Yeah.
What's your number 2?
I like the looks the most there. Probably this one, actually.
Interesting. Baron Sun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Made in the U.S., which I dig.
That is a bonus. And it's an upgraded steel. Again, the Gold Rush Bowie right here. Did we show them the box? We did, didn't we?
Yeah.
Super cool box. My favorites are the Cold Steel Gold Rush Bowie. My favorites would be the Cold Steel, number 1. The Baron Sun, number 2. The Undertaker, number 3.
1, 2, 3. I'm not big on the.
You don't like the big guard?
Yeah, it's not really my. If I did like the vibe,
Yeah.
the Old West thing, then yeah, that has the strongest.
I dig it. There you go. Big iron on the table once again. Nothing fancy project. Let us know and comment if you have some of these knives. If you're going to get them with our links below. If they make you happy, they're super affordable, much less expensive than those Bark Rivers, and they may just make you happy and maybe defend your life too. Who knows?
Yeah.
Over and out.